Hi everyone, welcome to the 73rd episode of the Zicast. As always, I'm your host Ryan Ziax, and today I'm joined by student leader Gia Iwanec.
Hello, thanks so much for having me.
Of course, I'd like to shout out episode 31 guest Chen for technical directing once again. So Gia, we have the unique situation, the fact that we actually went to school together.
Yes, we did.
In North Haven, Connecticut throughout our years, so it's great to catch up with you here. So how about you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So like you said, I'm Gia Iwanec. I'm 21 years old. I'm from North Haven, Connecticut. I'm in my senior year. Can't believe that I'm graduating in just a few short weeks. It seems like yesterday I stepped foot on campus as a freshman, and I never would have thought I would have believed the senior that told me it goes by in the blink of an eye, and here I am telling freshmen now that, so it's crazy. But I am a marketing major with a minor in integrated advertising and communications. I am the Student Government Association's vice president for public relations. I'm on the D1 dance team here at Quinnipiac, and then I'm also a sister of Alpha Delta Pi sorority.
Awesome. So we can see now why I called you a student leader in the intro. So let's kind of unpack all that. So let me ask you, what inspired you to get involved in student government?
So in high school, I ran for class president, class vice president, and I was offered the unique opportunity to be the board of director and education student liaison. So I kind of had that leadership experience to be the voice of our student body, to kind of advocate for our academic needs. So that gave me a little insight into what being a leader for such a wide group of students is like. So coming in onto campus, I really didn't know about Student Government Association until my sophomore year. One of my great friends, Jake Cedar, that I met through freshman year, kind of encouraged me, and we have such a great relationship that he always pushes me outside of my comfort zone, and that's the reason I'm here today, is because he encouraged me. And I never would have thought that my sophomore year self would be in the position and in the shoes that I am today if it wasn't for the drive and commitment that he was able to show me. So I've always been a leader throughout my life since I was 5 years old. That was a big part of my upbringing, is to always lead by example and, never look behind you and try to always stay on that right track. So now being a part of an executive board is truly full circle moment for me.
Yeah. So you're marketing major.
Yes.
So how does being on student government, is there any overlap with that?
It has prepared me for my role as vice president for public relations, because I understand the importance of, promotion and networking and being able to be a face of an organization that really focuses on communicating and really advertising what our senators are working on and the work we do behind the scenes. So running our social media page, creating content. I was able to start our own little Get Real with SGA using the Reel feature on Instagram. That was kind of my little gig I got to do as vice president for public relations, and that's been a success. So my marketing journey and academic journey has really shaped me into the, vice president that I am today.
Yeah. And you made my job easy for me, because that was actually our next topic. So do you mind telling us more about what your role entails as VP for Public Relations?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work alongside our 4 other executive board members. We have our president, JP DiDonato, our vice president, Caitlin Sternhart, our vice president for operations, Zoe McLaughlin, and then our vice president for student experience, Nick Fasano. So we work together to really run the student body, and it's been an honor working alongside such like-minded individuals. And our team building, our team exercises, our skills that we all bring to the table, I think is what really makes us such a unique group. And specifically with my role as vice president for public relations, I kind of am the communication, fun, school spirit. All of those come into my job. I'm able to host Bobcat Fridays on campus, which is encouraging students to wear their QU gear and show school spirit. I host suite events throughout the semester. So we have one coming up this Friday. It's Spring into SGA. So really showing that our door is always open for students to come in, voice their wants and needs and what we would like to advocate for them. In addition, I do all the fun things press statements, media pitches, run our social media programs. And what I love and what really got me excited about this role is how I am able to offer community service opportunities for members of our organization. So things like Q-thon, big event. I was able to host a Bobcat Friday where students across campus were able to write letters to Orange Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center for Valentine's Day cards. So being able to not only make a difference on campus, but also off campus is something that I was really passionate about with this role.
Awesome. So kind of like marketing, being kind of preppy, so to speak, you would say, like kind of like really selling Quinnipiac to other people. Do you think that helps kind of with your people skills as a marketer, which is so important in that field?
Absolutely. I feel like when it comes to marketing and public relations, you have to be confident in your delivery and your approach. And you have to be, like, I would say, tenacious. Like, it's really important that you know what you want and what you want to see and not be afraid to do something. I look at marketing as like this big picture. And in life, I look at the big picture that you kind of get to shape your journey. Like, there's not like a rule by the books. Of course, you know, like the 4 Ps and all of that. It's important. Like, that's the foundation. But I look at marketing as like, it's your opportunity to kind of figure out how you want to promote something, ways that you can design, content creation, all those things come into it. So I'm very lucky that I've had professors that have kind of molded me in that way to think about that. And it's fun. One professor one time was like, I never really thought of marketing that way, but it kind of makes sense. I think like having a creative background and idea really helps you kind of succeed in this field.
That's going to make for an awesome clip.
Oh, awesome.
And so also you bring up like your professors saying like, wow, that's something I didn't think of. Have you ever had a moment in your marketing journey where you're like, wow, that makes me think of marketing differently?
I would say over the past 2 years, I've been given incredible opportunities. I am the spokesperson for New Haven County Credit Union. I just was offered a job opportunity to create a pop-up shop for former Lucille's Bridal. And yesterday I was sitting in a meeting with her, and she's like, what do you think we should call it? And in like 0.1 of a second, I was like, say yes to the sale. And if it wasn't for all of the classes and professors that I've had throughout the years that have adapted me to think differently and also allow me to kind of understand where my brain was going, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And like marketing is so important in every aspect of every individual's life because you are your own person and I am my own person. But the way that you promote yourself is extremely important. I always say you don't have to judge a book by its cover. And unfortunately, I feel like that's such a big stereotype that, like, you know me, I'm involved in pageants and everybody's like, oh, the girl that in the pretty dresses and the blonde hair, like immediately people are like, oh, she's a dumb pageant girl. But no, take the opportunity to learn a little bit about me. Open up the book, read the chapters, and actually find out who I am rather than automatically making like an opinion or projection about someone. And I feel like marketing has allowed me to market myself in a way that I'm comfortable with and that other people are able to look at me and say, wow, that girl isn't who I thought she was. So sometimes you just have to dive in, open the book, read the chapters, and then you kind of create your own story in a way.
Yeah, because everyone has a story.
There we go. Zicast. Here we are. Yes.
Yeah, so that's really amazing because really branding, it's about kind of pushing something to other people, pushing an image to other people. So it's interesting you say that in terms of breaking out of an image, so to speak.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an interesting juxtaposition?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because a lot of people are like so quick to just like think something. And sometimes you have to like break the mold and break the stereotype. And that's something that I've really like dove into over the past few years, especially since starting college, where I was like, no, this is a fresh start. Like, let me be my most authentic self. And that's something that I try to promote. Authenticity and being genuine is your best friend in life and your career and like being a college student. These are like 4 years that you are never going to get back. And just being yourself, there's no apology for that, I feel like.
That's perfect. And then it's fitting you bring up dance because, of course, that's our next topic.
Yes.
So let me ask you about being on the Quinnipiac dance team and just tell us about like what it's like training and performances, the culture, all of that.
Absolutely. So I've been dancing since I was 2 years old. I grew up at Gloria Jean's Studio of Dance and was a member of Eastman Dance Company since I was 5 years old. My dance journey has been one for the books. I've had unique opportunities like going on America's Got Talent season 15. I went to Germany for the World Tap Championships and came home as a gold and bronze medal winner. And I never thought that dance team would be in my path because dance team was kind of not as popular as it is now. Now you look at UDA, TikTok, in January at ESPN Wide World of Sports, and that's like the new dance team Super Bowl. So it's an honor to be a part of the dance team here. And also what makes myself alongside of our other seniors is we're the first team to ever step foot at nationals. So we've built this program up, and it's an honor to have that be part of my dance history and dance story, because now the dance book is closing I'm a senior, but I've had unique opportunities serving as the club sports advisory board representative, because our D1 dance team does fall under club sports here. So being able to support our program, stand up for what we believe in, whether it's fundraising, the support of like mind, body, soul, having an athletic trainer. I've been really able to vouch for the wants and needs of our team, working alongside our captains and our coach. So this team has been our coach's dream for a while. She was on the Hampden dance team, and she also coaches Hampden High School dance team. So she's absolutely amazing, and we're so lucky to study and learn and not only have a coach, but like have a life coach and someone who's so invested in us, not only as a dancer, but more importantly as a leader and individual.
Yeah, a mentor.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
let me back you up here. You mentioned being on America's Got Talent.
Yes.
Do you mind telling us more about that?
Absolutely. So this was my sophomore year of high school. I literally went to New York City after homecoming. This was in November, and my best friend Emmy and I did a tap routine to stay alive. And we walked in the doors, and we received so much attention. I think it was because of our like little get up. We looked like 80s girls. We had our tap shoes on, and our story was that we've been dancing since we were 2 years old. Our parents grew up dancing together. So kind of was like a generation journey. And we got to do a lot of filming for commercials. We ended up being the cover of NBC for their season 15. They're still using to date little clips of us talking about our little catchphrase was "for the dreamers." And I turned on America's Got Talent out of coincidence over the summer. And there you go. I popped up on the screen, and I didn't even recognize myself because I was brunette at the time and I looked so different. But I was like, oh my goodness, they are still using our footage. So we ended up making it through a few rounds, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. The season was not able to continue. So that was kind of something so fun, but unfortunately COVID ruined it for us. But again, I always look at it was an opportunity to learn and grow, and I'll never that was just something for the books. Yeah.
What was it like being there on the show? Like, what was like the behind the scenes like, things like that?
It was crazy. I remember sitting backstage before the audition with the judges, and my best friend Emmy and I walk in there, and there's a bunch of other people on the side of us. You have someone like with a snake around their neck, and then you have like circus and acrobatics, and then like we're looking at each other like we're just like two tap dancers. And everyone has a story on America's Got Talent, and we looked at each other and we're like, let's just be ourselves. And I said, we've been dancing since we were 2 years old. We were little bumblebees, and we've grown up sharing our love for dance together, and that our tap shoes literally took us around the world, all the way to Germany, national competitions, regional conventions. We've been granted a lot of amazing, unique opportunities that we've took upon together, and to get to America's Got Talent, that was really cool for us. So
tap dancing around the world.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We sure did.
And it's interesting, because you definitely have a great cast of characters there. You must have felt kind of like underdogs being so young.
Right. And like I said, we didn't kind of have that story, which I'm so thankful to have not gone through anything traumatic in my life at that point. But then again, I look at it as, sometimes I'm also the type of person to always look at the bright side of things and have a smile on my face. Like that has to mean something. That you have two girls that grew up dancing since they were 2 years old together, and our parents grew up dancing together. So we hoped that they would see, the positive, bright side of us in that setting.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever have a America's Got Talent redemption tour?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. And hopefully, my little daughter in the future will grow up to love dance as much as me, and I could live that dream through her like my mom did through me.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you about your favorite dance performances or memories. It seems like we found it already, but I'm curious if you have any others.
Yeah, so that was an amazing opportunity. But going to Germany and being a part of the World Tap Championships, which is basically the dance Olympics. I competed alongside 32 other countries, but there was no better feeling than waiting backstage with my teammates in our USA tracksuits, and then hearing that we got first place and won the gold medal, storming onto the stage. I literally am covered in chills right now, but that was a moment where I was not only proud to be a part of that team, but proud to represent my country. Staring into the auditorium, seeing my dance teacher and our dance family and my mother, because she went with me. I'm going to get emotional talking about it, but that is something that I will never, ever forget. Standing on the podium with my hand on my heart, singing the national anthem as our flag is being raised was just truly unforgettable.
Yeah. So do you have a gold medal?
I do have a gold medal.
I should have asked you where.
Yes. It's actually in a nice little glass case in my room.
It's probably never leaving that.
No,
you have to keep that.
That is something that I'm holding on to forever.
So tell me about that whole experience, like being there in the tap dance Olympics. Like, what were the emotions of that?
Yeah. So tap dance is obviously my favorite style of dance. I love it because it allows you to express yourself and also your personality through sounds from little metal like circles on the bottom of your tap shoes, and that has been a part of my life since I was 2 years old, and I fell in love with tap dance since. But it started off as an audition process. We did a lot of traveling to New York on the weekends. It was a major commitment and sacrifice, and I was lucky enough to be accepted, and I got to go down to Germany with I did a trio, a duo, and then a formation. And there are certain categories. And it's funny because the dance that ended up taking home the gold medal was originally an alternate. So that dance wasn't even going there. And there was an instance where another team was not able to bring that dance forward. So we had, I think it was like 2 weeks to prepare our routine and teach new members that were in the dance the routine. And it's funny because that dance wasn't even supposed to be there. And we performed it, made it through quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and took home the gold medal. So that just goes to show you that, like, judges have certain opinions. And it blows my mind that, like, I've been a competitive dancer since I was 5 years old. And I never realized it until lately that I've been judged my whole entire life. I get up on a stage in front of people that I don't even know, and 5 judges at the time, and they're writing comments about me. They're writing a score next to my name. And I recently just developed that, like, wow, my whole entire life I've been judged. And I love corrective, constructive criticism. I believe that's the best tool to be better and improve. And that's something that I've always said my whole entire life, is to do more than you did yesterday and really improve upon yourself, even if it's like getting better every single day or taking the extra step. That's something that dance has taught me. And going to Germany was just like a moment where I realized that, wow, all these years really paid off. And that dance wasn't even supposed to be there, and ended up going and cleaning house. So that was incredible.
Like another underdog story. You're like Rocky.
Literally. And it's funny that you say that, because I feel like sometimes I'm like, my team or myself, we're always the underdogs, but then we rise up because it's the passion that drives us and the purpose behind it. And that's been like a catchphrase of mine, kind of like in the pageant world, is that, like, I lead my life with passion and purpose. And sometimes, like, that means more than skill or anything else. So sometimes you just have to have the heart.
Yeah. And it's fascinating what you bring up about the judges.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in a lot of ways, everyone kind of has their own judges in their life. You've had literal judges. Like, I'm sure you can relate to, like, an actor, for example, having people always judge you when, like, employers judge us like that. So it's like, it's interesting. Like, do you think those experiences prepped you, like, having those judges for, like, as you go into your professional career?
Oh, absolutely. I truly wouldn't be the woman I am today if it wasn't for everything that I've learned throughout my competitive dance life or growing up in pageantry. And I feel like pageantry has prepared me more for that, because I've been on stage, on a microphone, public speaking since I was 5 years old. So being able to utilize all those skills now in life, like, I wouldn't be able to hold a press conference or be able to get on camera and just film one video in one take if it wasn't for all those little moments that led up to the big moment. And I believe I haven't even met my big moment in life yet. I mean, hopefully that's what my career and my job will be. But I truly am so thankful for, the confidence, the team skills, the team building and bonding, and the public speaking skills, every single opportunity. I always say, I've been networking since I was 5 years old. And it's funny because, First Selectman Mike Frieda in North Haven, I met him at Big Y when I was, I believe, 7 years old in the candy aisle. That was my favorite thing, to go pick out the little candies. They were 50 cents and you made a bag. And I met him in that aisle. And at 7 years old, he was like, I'm so astonished by your confidence and your ability at 7 years old to hold a conversation with me in an aisle at Big Y. And he was like, would you be willing to light the North Haven town Christmas tree? And I was like, sure, whatever. So here's little me at 7 years old lighting the town Christmas tree. And I feel like those little moments, every opportunity and every experience that I've been a part of I find so much value in everything. And I think about little 5-year-old Gia, 7-year-old Gia, 10-year-old Gia, and now I'm 21. Yeah. Can't even believe it. I feel like an old lady now, but every single opportunity has prepared me for being here today, talking with you.
Mike Frieda must have known he was looking at an American hero, a future American hero in that aisle. Yeah,
and we're still close today. And every time I see him, he's like, can't believe you're growing up now. And I'm like, me too. So crazy. Yeah.
And you talk about team building. Another team you're on is your sorority. So how about you tell us about kind of your work in Greek life and kind of how that's helped your professional development?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a part of Alpha Delta Pi, our Theta Theta chapter here at Quinnipiac. And you brought up team building, so I'm going to talk about my sorority fam because that is my why and my purpose and my sorority, because I was able to find like-minded individuals that surround themselves by our values, sisterhood, service, character, and knowledge. And that's what builds up our sorority of about 100 individuals. When I was a freshman going through recruitment, I had no idea what it was like. I had zero idea what a sorority even looked like. And everybody's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, because they're like, you look like you could go to Bama and join sororities down there. I'm like, yes, because I fell in love with it. But I had zero expectations. So I completely went in with an open mind. And I looked at all of the social media pages of all the sororities, and I was like, okay, I like this one because their philanthropy's that. I like this one because the girls seem nice. And I didn't even put 80 Pi down on my top 5 the first day. And I got called back, and I'm like, I wasn't looking forward to going back because I didn't feel like I had a genuine connection, or I didn't feel like I felt like I belonged there at the time. Day 2, and keep in mind, day 1 was virtual. And this was fall 2021 COVID year. So mask still on, first day's on Zoom. Second day, I walk into the room in person, and I immediately feel like I found my people, I found my home, and I found my place. I knew after day 2 that that was where I wanted to go. So I was hopeful to see 80 Pi on the card the next day. And going into day 3, I was able to talk with the president at the time. Her name is Ju, and she is literally a campus star celebrity here. And she ended up becoming my Gigi Big, which is my great-grandmother in sorority family terms. And I looked at her, and I saw so much of myself in myself and her. And she was like, you could be president one day. And I just felt like an immediate connection that I knew this girl my whole entire life, because she surrounded herself with service, sisterhood, and just I can't even describe how amazing she is, because and I tell her that all the time. So then I ended up getting my G-Big, who was my Violet at the time. I ran home to her across campus, and then now I have a Big, I have a Little, a G Little, and a GG Little. So our whole entire sorority fam consists about 9 girls who are in touch almost every single day. Last year we went on a world tour together. We had so much fun. We met up, we went out together, and I believe that that's what makes a sorority so special, is when you have people that feel like a family. So I'm really grateful and to have that experience, because I know some people are not lucky to have that. Yeah. So I'm really thankful for all of that.
Yeah. And you mentioned philanthropy. Like, what kind of philanthropy projects really attract you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So service is very big, and our national philanthropy is the Ronald McDonald House. And what's so unique about our specific Theta Theta chapter is that we get to be hands-on and actually see the work that we're doing right inside of our community, because we're able to go to the Ronald McDonald House in either New Haven or Springfield. So being able to kind of incorporate the sisterhood aspect of carpooling, making a day out of it, going to get coffee, and actually making meals for the families at the Ronald McDonald House is always so fulfilling and makes your heart happy at the end of the day, that you get to give back to a community that gives so much to us and do it with the people that you love.
Yeah, which is what it's all about in terms of like you mentioned, finding your people, building a community,
right,
and then giving back to said community.
Yeah.
And it kind of all becomes full circle. And we've gotten into all the incredible things you do, but let's kind of get into more like personal stuff. And how about you tell us a bit about yourself? Tell us some things people might not know about you.
I always say this is like silly, but I can't ride a bike. And everybody's like, you could tap dance, you could turn 17 times, but you literally cannot ride a bike. So I can't ride a bike. Yeah, interesting.
I mean, if you don't learn it really young, you might just.
But I tried. That's the best part. I tried learning, and then when COVID hit, we were cleaning out the garage, and we had like 7 bikes. So my dad took it to the gas station, put air in the tires, and then came back. And when I tell you, I literally fell in the bush on our neighborhood. I fell in the bush, and I was like, you know what? This is clearly not in the works for me. So I'm just gonna give up on that. But trying to think of anything else. I feel like I am an open book. Like I always am not afraid to share what I'm doing. I love social media. I have like 17 Instagram pages for like that I'm logged into, from businesses that I'm running, or like myself, my photo dump account, my pageant account, my dance account. But I feel like people, if they like look me up, they'll get a good glimpse of like who Gia is. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, I don't understand why you do that. But I'm like, this life is only going to happen once. So being able to share like your ins and your outs and just kind of being an open book, I hope that I'm inspiring someone to open up and, share your story, share your why, share your passion, share your purpose, because that's exactly what I do. And I'm like almost not afraid in that way to just be myself and showcase, the real me at the end of the day.
Yeah, I might be competing with you for most social media accounts.
Oh, boy.
With all the different ones I have.
Oh, my goodness. No, I think there's about like 12 that I'm logged into 12? Right now. And some of them I have to like log out to sign back in because I hit the capacity. So, yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm a little far back. Maybe I'm losing.
Have a competition, yeah.
But I'll catch up at some point. And you mentioned loving dance. So how about you tell us one thing you love and one thing you strongly dislike?
Okay, so I strongly dislike chocolate. I cannot even smell chocolate. I can't even taste chocolate. And that's been since I was a little kid. And it's funny because people always ask me, like, what do you love? And I'm like, I literally love life. I am like a life enthusiast. I look at it as every day is a new opportunity to be better, to feel something, to take on a new opportunity, and to just like be bold and embrace this day, because you're never going to get this day back. And I like, and it's funny because you're like, everybody calls me Sally Sunshine. And I'm like, no, like I hope to encourage someone else to smile, to like give a random act of kindness. I love giving compliments to people and just kind of being a light in someone's shadow, because you never know what someone's going through. Yeah. It's unfortunate because like there's a lot of negativity in the world today. So if I could be that little, oh, I love your top today, or good morning. It's just the little things in life, to me, are the biggest things in life. Yeah.
Life enthusiast. That's a better tagline even than student leader.
Wow. There we go. New tagline.
Yeah, we found a new one. And you mentioned not liking chocolate. So if you ever have a dog, there's no worries there.
Exactly. I do have a dog.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Kubota. He's like my best friend ever.
So he's safe from chocolate.
He is. Yeah, he's super safe.
And kind of moving onwards, I'd like to ask you, what are some of your hopes and dreams professionally or in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I'm a marketing major with a minor in integrated advertising and communications. So I immediately came to school with the hopes of being a pharmaceutical sales representative. My sophomore year of high school, I had the opportunity to come here, a part of the leadership program, and celebrate the inauguration of President Judy Olian. So I was able to sit in on a marketing and communications course, and I'm like, all right, this is exactly what I wanted to do. I fell in love with it. So now, come full circle, graduating, I'm really thankful that I had that little glimpse into the life of like a marketing communications student, because it truly has prepared me. But my sophomore year in college, I declared my minor, and I was like, I love marketing and I love communications. And now, as I'm applying and entering the real world for a job, I completely want to go like the whole news anchor route. I would love to, like, the goal is like Good Morning America. But as you could tell, I love to talk, and I could talk for hours. I could talk to this microphone. So I really am looking at the news anchor route, PR, marketing, brand recognition. Like, I'm happy with anything, and that's kind of like I'm keeping that open. So hopefully, I'll get accepted somewhere. I'll feel it out. But it's just it's so hard, and I don't know if you're experiencing this, but I would rather have an interview with someone in person, because I believe that they're able to see who you are, how you carry yourself, how your personality. And I feel like looking at a resume is just, you're looking at a piece of paper. Yeah. There's only so much, like, you can't see everything on a piece of paper. That doesn't come to life. I feel like the personality and the person in the room is what comes to life. Yeah. So unfortunately, like, everything's digital nowadays, and I'm such like a people's person. I love face-to-face communication, like sharing eye contact, holding hands, shaking hands. Like, that to me, everybody says I'm like old school and whatever, but I think that speaks volumes.
Oh, definitely. Especially when you interact with someone, sometimes you could just get that, you could feel that connection that like a resume, even if like you have a very impressive resume like yours, it could be kind of like you mentioned, like dehumanizing in a way, that just have only a piece of paper represent yourself. Right. So to speak. So I very much understand what you mean as we're entering the job market and doing our LinkedIn work and all of that.
Yeah. I know I'm like actively posting and like commenting. I'm like, this is like the new Instagram for like business majors, I feel like. But hopefully the news anchor route. And then last year in January, I had the opportunity to go to the New England Patriots cheerleaders workshop. So hopefully that's in the future to continue my dance journey. I don't want to, hang up my shoes yet.
Of course, yeah.
I want to, stay active, and that's been a part of my life forever. So kind of going from the basketball court to the football field, I think that would be like really cool.
Yeah, and now let's go from there to the movie theater, and I can ask you, what are some of your favorite movies?
My favorite movies. It's so funny, and this is crazy that I'm saying this on here, but like The Hangover is my favorite movie. I've been obsessed with that movie like forever.
I've heard that a lot in here.
Really?
Yeah.
You've gotten a lot?
I hear that a ton.
Okay, good. Because it's so funny, because like if my brother, my dad, my mom, and I are having a movie night, we're like Hangover 1, 2, and 3, and we laugh so hard. So that's always a good one. And like Cheaper by the Dozen. I come from a really close-knit family with a lot of cousins, and I like to say our family's dysfunctional, just like them. So definitely Cheaper by the Dozen. Yeah, definitely.
And very much so. But what wasn't dysfunctional? This episode of the Zicast, because it was awesome. So how about, before you go, do you have any plugs or motivational words or anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I would say I started this initiative when I was 12 years old as an extension for my personal platform, Get Into Action, Happy Mind, Healthy Body. And it's always do more today than you did yesterday. I believe that your growth and your personal development never ends. It's always a work in progress. And that's something that I've been working on since I was a little girl. And now coming to the end of my college journey, this is like my final push these next few weeks. And I'm constantly telling myself, like, you could do more. You can really push yourself in these last few weeks, so that I have no regrets when it comes to graduation. So hopefully when I'm walking across the stage in the cap and gown that I designed and was able to put into place through my work in the Student Government Association, I will be so proud of the person, but more importantly, the leader and enthusiast that I became.
Yeah, And as always, that was very inspiring, which is a common theme with this episode. And it was great to hear about all the things you do. Like, you're such a great role model for young people. And
Thank you.
Whenever I salute the flag, I'll be thinking of you.
Thank you.
For everything you've done. And it's just really incredible to hear about these things. And of course, just catch up with you before we graduate from school. And like what you just said was so relatable to myself, to Liam, and any other senior. So thank you so much for sharing your story on here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And as always, this is Ryan Zicast for the Zicast, where everyone has a story. Signing off. Thank you so much for watching.